It's not going to be factored for you, but it's going to be a factoring by grouping problem, okay? So no PRRs, no guessing, no synthetic division. You are going to look at the problem. You are going to look at the problem. This is the first one on the practice quiz. And you are going to factor it. Okay? So, can you see how this one factors by grouping? What are we going to do here? Take out an x squared, and that will be then we will be left with x plus 3. And then we'll take out a negative 9. You took out the negative, so you're going to be left with x plus 3 again, which that is the key, right? That match there. So I have my x plus 3, my match, and then I have x squared minus 9. And what do I know about x squared minus 9? It is x plus 3x minus 3. Uh-oh, what do you notice? You have two of them that are the same, so could that be written like this? Which means when you graph, which is what the question actually is, sketch it, you're only going to have two x-intercepts. You're going to have one at negative 3 and one at 3, right? Everybody keeping up? Now this is an x cubed problem. There's no negative out here in front. Where do x cubes start? Down. Now, what's it going to do? That guy came from here. So he is going to bounce and connect. That came from here, so it's just going to go through. All right, so tomorrow, one problem like this. We're going to practice another one. We good with that? All right, let's look at the next one. So what are you going to do first? Everybody should be doing it already. Take out an x squared. Class, you doing okay back there? All right, taking out an x squared. Then what are we going to take out right here? A negative 9. I took out the negative, so that's going to be x plus 4. So I have x plus 4. And then I have x squared minus 9 again. I think that's what I just had. And what about x squared minus 9? It factors x plus 3x minus 3. Now, this time I didn't get any matches. That's fine. That just means in my picture there won't be any bouncing, right? This time, because I don't have any of the same factors. So, here we go. We have x-intercepts, at negative 4, at negative 3, and at 3. It's x cubed again, no negative. So it starts down and just goes through each one. Okay, so what happens tomorrow? You get a half sheet of paper, one of these, you're gonna factor it and sketch it. Not tomorrow, Thursday. You good? All right, let's get that practice test back out. And let's pick up where we left off. I bet we'll have one of these on the practice test so we can practice again. But we gotta start with number 6, because that's the one we skipped yesterday. Now, this looks like the ones we just practiced. I mean, when you just look at it, it looks that way. But this one doesn't factor by grouping. If you are worried about, oh gosh, am I gonna know to factor by grouping or not, notice that I asked you specifically to list the PRRs. If I ask you to do that, then you're gonna have to guess and divide, okay? If I don't ask you to do that, then it's gonna be one like we just practiced. You can factor by grouping. So what are our PRRs? Factors of 6, right, the last 6, and the factors of 6. That is very important, guys. Factors of 6, plus or minus 6, 3, 2, and 1, in any order. Over, some of you are forgetting this part, and I get it, when that's a 1, you don't really need to think about it, but when it's a 2 or a 3 or something else, you do have to think about it. So it's factors of that over factors of this. Okay? So literally, the problems that the numbers you are going to guess are either 6, negative 6, 3, negative 3, 2, negative 2, 1, negative 1. Now you can use the plus or minus. You don't have to write them out, but I want you to see, those are your guesses. So you're gonna pick a number from that list, and you're going to guess. All right, anybody feel particularly?
2.
2? So I put 2 in the box out here, because that's my guess. Wrote down all those numbers, dropped the 1 straight down, here we go. Oh, wow. Awesome. What does that mean in terms of my picture? In terms of my picture, I am going to have a dot at 2. There it is. X equals 2. Now what?
Maybe wouldn't it be like 1x squared?
Yes. So then I look at this right here, and that's x squared plus 4x plus 3. And then I do something with that. What do I do with that? Factor it. And that factors as
3 and 1.
3 and 1. And what does that tell me then? I'm gonna have another dot at -1 and another one at -3. Would you agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
Now that I have the dots on there, it is like tomorrow's quiz. Now you have to connect the dots. Did you end up with anything squared? Are there any dots doubled or anything? No, so it's just going to start down here and look like this. Now, obviously that is C. That is the sketch. I did that kind of quickly. You're going to have a question about the sketch. No bouncing. because I got 2, -1, and -3. Now, question B says find the factors. Here are 2 of the factors. Remember, you factored this. Those are 2 of the factors. What is the third factor? Remember, you put a dot at 2. What factor is that? X minus 2. So this is the answer to question B. Find the factors. 2 of them you got by factoring this, and the third one you actually got by guessing. How did I know there were 3 factors and not just 2? Because it's x cubed. 3 dots, 3 factors. Okay, you all right with that? All right, we did 7 yesterday. 8 is the one like tomorrow's quiz. In fact, it looks like a problem we already did. But that's all right, we'll do it again. Number 8. 8 looks just like the one we just finished. But notice, I didn't say find the PRRs. I said factor and sketch. That means I can group it. This is like our quiz tomorrow. So take a second. It's like on the practice quiz, one of the problems. Take a second and see how far you can get with this problem, because this is what you're gonna have to do tomorrow. Who did something? We'll share your thought, Kyle.
First, just do the grouping.
Okay.
X squared, and parentheses x plus 4,
Perfect.
and then take out the -9, and x plus 4.
Okay. Great so far.
Then parentheses x squared minus 9,
Okay.
and then x plus 4,
Perfect.
and then break down that one.
Plus 3 minus 3.
Yeah.
Now, we just did that problem a little bit ago, but are you doing it? Are you following along here, doing it on your own? Good? Now, we have to sketch it. So it's gonna look just like it did a minute ago. We're gonna have a dot at -3, dot at 3, and a dot at -4. Does it look like that?
Yep.
So that is what tomorrow's quiz is. So if you're comfortable with that, different numbers tomorrow, but that's what you're gonna be doing. All right, number 9, here's another one. What are the possible rational roots? Well, this is easy. How do we find the PRRs again, the possible rational roots?
The last.
Factors of the last, well, that's a 1. So the factors of 1 are just plus or minus 1 over factors of the first, which is also 1. So basically, your guesses are gonna be 1 and -1, that's it. So what do you wanna try first? -1. Uh-oh. Unless I made a mistake, I don't think -1 worked. So I guess I'll try positive 1. There are no other numbers, no other rational numbers that could possibly work. So I'm hoping like heck that 1 works. Yep, it does. So what does that mean? That means that one of my answers is 1. If I were graphing, which I am not in this problem, but if I were, there would be a dot at 1. Because 1 gave me 0. All right, what happens now? Factor. Well, first of all, let's write this thing. X squared plus 3x plus 1. Someone said factor. I would love to factor, but I don't think it does. So what do I do? If I still have to solve it, but it doesn't factor, what am I gonna do? Quadratic formula. Yep, quadratic formula. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Yes, you need to know your quadratic formula. Never ever forget it. So what have I got under there? Negative 3 plus or minus the square root of what? Nine minus 4. Now, luckily, we're not graphing. All we're doing is solving. So we guessed 1. So one of our answers is 1. And then we ended up having to do the quadratic formula to find the other 2. Here are the other 2. All right, number 10, write the equation. All right, how do I start? What? I gotta put down my parentheses. These are my factors. I see 3 dots, 1, 2, 3, so I'm gonna have 3 factors. And the first dot, I didn't label them, shame on me. The first one is at negative 4, so x plus 4. The next one is x plus 1. And then x minus 3. Don't just write those down. Is everybody okay with that? You got it? Now, the next step is critical. Look at the picture. Are you gonna have any squares on any of those parentheses? Yeah, where are you going to have them? X plus 1 is gonna be squared. And x minus 3 is going to be squared. And how do I know those are squared? Because the picture is bouncing there, right? Now, I am not done. I'm halfway done. To finish, I have to figure out what that number is. Call it A, call it N, call it whatever you want. I don't care. You have to figure out what it is. And how do we figure out what it is? Plug in the random x and y we have up here. So y is 10 and x is 2. So every x I put in 2 for, and there's only one y and I put in 10. Is that good? here we go. 2 plus 4, 6. 2 plus 1 is 3, but that one's squared, so it's 9. 2 minus 3 is -1, but it's squared, so it is 1. We're taking our time. So 10 equals, multiply all these together, 54a. So a is 10 over 54, which divides by 2 to give me 5 over 27. And this is usually an awful number like this. They usually come out really bad. But that's okay, because all you have to do is write it down in your equation. And this is the answer to the question. Anybody have a question about any of that?
If we left it as 10 over 54, is that wrong?
Not wrong, but minus a little bit, because we always reduce our fractions. That's just, you know. But certainly just a small amount off. All right, synthetically divide. So this is just a division problem. So what do you, look at the problem. What's gonna go in the box? -1. Very, very good. It's in a parentheses, so when it comes out, it's negative. Now, watch this. This is where I'm gonna trick you. What numbers get written out here now? 1, 0, -3, 8, and -2.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I am not trying to get 0. That isn't my job here. I'm just doing the division. So you do it too and see if yours matches mine. This is where I make mistakes a lot, so double check that. Anybody else end up with -12 out here? Alright, so I think I'm right then. So here we go. What's our quotient? What's our quotient? X cubed minus x squared minus 2x plus 10. That's my quotient. This is my quotient. That's my remainder. So what's my remainder? -12 over x plus 1. If you just wrote -12, I wouldn't mark it wrong. That is the remainder. All right? If x plus 2 is one factor of this guy, find the others. Right, these were in our notes. We did these, I think, yesterday. Who remembers? What? Actually, that would be if I wanted to find the remainder, Gabby. And I already know the remainder is going to be 0. So instead of doing that, let's actually divide. Let's divide. So since it's x plus 2 in parentheses, I'm going to put a -2 up there. And then 1, -6, -25, -18. And let's do the division. We know, that the remainder is going to be 0. Sure enough, there it is, the remainder is 0. But we aren't interested in that. What are we interested in? This guy, yeah, what are the factors of this guy? This is x squared minus 8x minus 9. That does factor. How does that factor? Minus 9 plus 1. And what was the question? Find the other factors. Right there they are. That's them. So what do I do when they give me one of the factors? They gave me one of them. I divide it out and then factor what's left.
Will there be like a line where we put those like on the test?
Yes.
Would we just put like x equals, or do you just?
No, actually, it says find the factors. So obviously, if I were graphing this, I'd put a dot at 9 and a dot at -1. But before you could get to there, you would have this written down. So I will see that. That is actually the answer. All right, and then number 13. Oh my gosh. That wacky old Mrs. Ford, what is she doing here? Throwing in a projectile motion problem. Now, that needs to at least look familiar to you. We did that a long time ago. So why am I throwing it in here? Well, let's read the question again. It says the height of a ball, okay, here we go. I want to reach my maximum height. Okay, now guys, this is an x squared equation, right? That means it's a parabola, and it has a negative out in front, so it's a parabola that looks like this. And the maximum height would be right there, and that is called the what? The vertex. And we just took a quiz where hopefully we remembered how to find the vertex. How do I find the vertex? First, I find my axis of symmetry, doing what?
Negative B.
Negative B over 2A. So did you get 1? So your vertex is at 1 comma something. How do I find the something?
You just plug it back in.
Just plug it back in. So that's gonna be -16 times 1 plus 32 times 1 minus 4. Looks like 12. Find when the ball reaches its maximum height. There are 2 numbers here. T is like the X, would you agree with that? And T stands for time. Oh, it doesn't say. It should say it's seconds, So this is X seconds. So when does the ball reach its highest point? 1 second. And then this Y is actually the height. So how high does the ball go? 12 feet. But the question is, when does it reach its highest? That's right here. Okay, now don't you dare say that problem's not fair. That problem's absolutely fair because it's a parabola and you know how to find the vertex, right? And that's what you gotta do. All right, let's do it again. Here we go. Oh, look at practice test number 2. The very first question is this one. So this time, Our equation looks like that. Is that a parabola? Opening down. Question talks about maximum height. Wouldn't that be right there? So I need to find that point. How do I find that point?
On the axis of symmetry.
Negative b over 2a. So negative 64 over 2a, negative 32. This time I got 2. So this is 2 comma something. And how do I find the something?
Plug it back in.
So right now, I want everybody to plug it in. Some of you just sit there and wait for me to do it. Go ahead and plug it in. I'll tell you that I got 70. That could be wrong though. So you go ahead and give it a shot. And see if you agree with me or not. Anybody else got 70?
Yeah.
Okay, now we need to answer the question. Remember, there were 2 numbers here, right? That number, I've been calling it X, but in the problem, it was T, which is time. So that means 2 seconds. And that is my Y, which is my height. So the question says, what's the maximum height of the ball? 70 feet. It's always seconds and feet. So 70 feet. Anybody have a question about that before we move on? All right. X minus 3 is a factor of this. Find the other factors. We just did one of these. What do?
Divide it out.
Divide. So out in the box is gonna go a what for problem number 2? The 3. And sure enough, it went in evenly. They told me it was a factor, so it goes in evenly. Where do I go from here?
Do x squared plus 4x minus 5.
Yep. Some of your factoring is atrocious. You guys gotta get in the habit of checking your factoring. This is gonna be plus 5 minus 1. In the directions say find the other factors, there they are. There they are, that's it. So if you need to make a, write a little note there, what are the steps to the problem? First we divide, and then we factor what's left over. What do you think about that one? Is that all right? All right, now we have a division problem. What's gonna go in the box? This is just straight, just due to the division.
1.
1's gonna go in the box. Be really careful here. 4, 0, negative 3, 0, 9, and 2. Does everybody see those zeros in there? Why are they there? Because there's no x to the 4th. and there's no x squared. One times 4 is 4. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. I got 12 out here on the end, is my remainder. Did anybody else get that? Okay. The test, you'll have to write the quotient and the remainder. So what will the quotient be?
4x to the 4. Yeah.
Yes, 4x to the 4th. How do you know that? Because the original was x to the 5th, and it's always down 1. So 4x to the 4th plus 4x cubed plus x squared plus x plus 10. x4, x3, x2, x1, no x. And then my remainder is 12 over x minus 1. Okay, is that all right? All right, I am gonna skip to number 6 because it is the one that we take a quiz on next time. Number 6. Factor and sketch. So what are you thinking, group? So the first 2 will be x squared, x plus 5. And then we'll pull out the minus 4, and that took out the negative, so that'll be x plus 5. And then we'll have x plus 5 and x squared minus 4. And what do we know about x squared minus 4? X plus 2, x minus 2. And then we're going to sketch that. So what do? We have to sketch it. Put some dots on there. Where do the dots go? -5, -2, and 2. And I label them. Notice that none of my factors were the same. So there's no squaring, no bouncing going on. It's a regular old x cubed. So it's just gonna look like that. That's tomorrow's quiz. All right, and we will pick up there